So I wasn't sure I was going to make it in time, but apparently I did. My second Hindenburg gun is done as of today. So with that being done, we can go ahead and go back to PR5. Now the question is, was it worth getting a second Hindenburg gun? I'm pretty sure I said this back when I did the gear review, but I don't think I'm gonna get more than two. I think two is a okay spot, and even then, it's like not that mandatory um, to get. So that being said, I do think one is nice-ish to have. Not really. I do kind of regret plus 13 my Hindenburg gun, one of them, because I did it for one of the challenge modes. I'm not sure if it was this one. Maybe it was this one. But I needed a plus 13 Hindenburg gun, so I had to make it real fast. But yeah, I personally don't think it's worth it that much, honestly. If we go to the selection of heavy cruiser guns, I'll go ahead and explain why my thought process as to why I don't like it. So we go to the selection of heavy cruiser guns. You have three choices, right? You have, well, at least for URs, you have the Drake guns, you have the Unzen gun, and you have Hindenburg gun here. Now, why I'm not a big fan of heavy cruiser is because they're not that durable. Unless your name is Anguish, you are not that durable as a heavy cruiser. So that being said, if we look at like the common lineups for vanguards for either a battleship setup or a carrier setup, you're pretty much running a Plymouth and a Helena with something else like a tank or something for battleship setup. And for carriers running like a Sirius, maybe a Kazaguma with Helena as well too. So there's pretty much no spots for a heavy cruiser, and they're squishy, so you might as well just run a tank. That being said, you pretty much can use heavy cruisers for mob content because they're not gonna die there. They have usage with wave clearing and damage and whatnot, especially with Unzen and Hindenburg being absolute monster DPS ships. They're better there. And when you have these ships in mob content is primarily composed of light armor enemies and medium armor enemies. So if that's the case, then you're pretty much better off using a Drake gun or an Unzen gun. Hence why I'm not a big fan of um, the Hindenburg gun because it's primarily for medium and heavy armor, and which is good for bossing. But keep in mind, it's just so hard to keep a a heavy cruiser alive for boss content. You're pretty much better off running something else, right? Or like another buffer or a damage dealer that does like decent tanking as well too. They're better off there. So I personally went for a second Hindenburg gun because on the off chance that heavy cruisers start becoming more meta because of like I don't know, they're gonna make enemies do less damage, like meta fights, and the current challenge mode fight war spite where they do like absolute no damage at all and you gotta do like DPS checks, then yeah, I can definitely see Hindenburg and like Unzen and stuff being more relevant in terms of end game content for bossing. However, where it stands right now, it's very difficult to let these ships stay alive without having to take a hit somewhere else, right? Like you can use Hindenburg, you can use Unzen and meta fights, but you're giving up something. Like you're either gonna have Plymouth go down fast, you're gonna have like a non-Helena setup, so your Vanguard is gonna risk dying or whatever, like from the Jinsu meta fight. You're giving up something in order to make it so these heavy cruisers can work in boss fleets. Unless the boss does absolute no damage, like the Warspite one, you can't really use heavy cruisers. Hence why I'm not a big fan of Hindenburg guns because they're just not that useful when it comes to end game bossing. So two's the max. Two's where I'm going to stop at. Is it worth getting a second one? Probably not. I would probably just skip this gear research altogether for PR6 and just go back to like the other seasons, like 4 or 5 even. Those are much, much better compared to the Hindenburg gun, where it's just a side option compared to the Drake gun. And we got Drake guns for so many years now. So many people already have plus 13 Drake guns. Then why would you want a plus 13 a Hindenburg gun, right? So yeah, that's how I feel. Again, I got a second one pretty fast. I'm pretty confident. Like, I'm pretty happy about getting a second one in like what 5 months now. But I'm just not a fan of this gun. I just got it for the sake of having it. I'm probably never gonna use it. Um, I mean, if I do use it, great. But by then, I'm gonna get another one from Gear Lab or the prototype shop. So there's no real reason to get another one. So it is what it is. So I'm letting you guys know right now. If you guys have one already, congrats. If you get a second one, go for it. But if you guys want some more, if you guys need more 10 rides or something, do that instead. Don't waste your time here. So yeah. Anyways, hope you guys are watching that video. And I'll see you guys in the next one as always.